get right back into it. Vermont's population is stagnant. Southern and the Northeast Kingdom counties especially have seen an exodus, as we know. Mr. Scott, you have proposed a statewide initiative to grow Vermont to 700,000 residents. That's about a 10% increase. How will this happen? What steps will you take to make it happen?
Well, you've identified the problem. We have a stagnant population, 625,000 people. It hasn't changed over the last couple of decades, but we're losing this category, this age group 25 to 45. We've lost 30,000 people out of that category alone since the last census. That's our workforce. And we have less people working today than we did 7 years ago. That's a reality. So what we have to do is focus on rebuilding that sector, bringing more people. We're living longer. We need to bring more people into the state. So I'm advocating for 700,000 over the next 15 or 20 years, and focus on the areas that would entice people to come, growing our economy, having businesses that can thrive. And we have a resource right here within the state. We graduate 10,000 students from our colleges and universities every single year. What we need to do is provide affordable housing for them. We need opportunity for them. And we have to look for means to focus on the issues at hand. And that takes a legislature and a leadership to make sure that we provide that.
Ms. Minter?
Well, I believe we need to continue to grow a vibrant economy. Look, we are the second most rural state in the country, and rural states are in decline, both population and economically. We're not in decline, we are relatively stagnant, but we can grow and we must. My economic growth plans evolve around how do we invest in our communities to make them vibrant, to support entrepreneurs, and show how we can grow. In Barre, we put $19 million of public investment into infrastructure, and within 6 years, we have seen over $45 million in private sector investment. We can do that across Vermont by strategic investment. I also want to drive innovation in the 4 key sectors of our economy: advanced manufacturing, high tech, and the green economy. That's the farm, food, and forest economy, and the renewable energy and efficiency economy. Now, these are places where young people are gravitating to Vermont to be a part of our innovation, to be part of our agricultural renaissance and our green economy.
And Mr. Lynn?
Free Viagra. You've got to have more population. I don't know how you're going to get 10% in a short period of time, but Sue's right. You have to do it on a small basis, green economy, break down the big farms, the dairy industry. We're just spilling milk. It's not working. They have to become organic. They have to take care of their rivers. No pollutants get into your rivers. None of them get into Lake Champlain. That's your problem. You've got to start from the ground up, and you start with your pollution problem. You get clean air, clean water, and you come down and you break up the farms. You make them all organic, and there'll be more people working because you'll be using the hexagonal double digging technique of Alan Chadwick from Indonesia, and we'll be planting better, deeper, better soil, and we'll have, just talk to Pete at Pete's Greens. He's got the answer. He's in there with the bakery over in Middlesex. They're all together and they're doing it on their own, and they're doing a great job. And I have no worries about this state. This state's going to be fine.
And our next question comes from Susan Winston on Twitter. And she wants to know, what are your plans to keep Vermont state workers safe?
What was that?
Your plan to keep Vermont state employees safe. And this next question goes to, who's next on this next question?
Ms. Minter.
Ms. Minter.
Well, thank you for that important question, because safety is paramount, and of course, because of the gun violence that we have seen affecting our state workers and the incredible pressures that so many of them are on, it is a high priority. And it will be as governor, just as it's been as the Agency of Transportation Secretary. I've been balancing a $600 million budget, managing a workforce of 1,300 people, a very diverse workforce. A workforce where people are putting themselves at risk almost on a daily basis. And that's why we created whole new safety trainings to make sure that safety was actually the overall mission of our agency, to make sure our workplace was safe, our workers were safe, and our highways are safe. We worked to drive down highway fatalities by creating an interagency alliance. And you know what? In 2014, we had the lowest number of highway fatalities on Vermont's roads since before World War II. But unfortunately, the numbers have gone up again. I am all about safety for the workers and our Vermont people.
Driving down the other day, I saw 5 violations on the highway, just texting and driving. I don't own a cell phone, but all I see are accidents waiting to happen. You know, and I think we've got to address that problem too. But as far as worker safety, and as Sue said, when that poor girl was shot in Barre, that was a tragedy. And we've got to be able to diagnose family situations and not that occur. You know, when there's a domestic dispute, 2 officers show up. You know, we're very good at that. I believe we have a lot less crime than everywhere else in the world. It's a great state, but just use common sense. You know, when you're out there working, I work on a 50-inch, Lane sawmill. I've got earphones on, I got plugs in, and that thing's running, and I'm that close to a blade going 642 RPMs. I still got all my fingers. You know why? Because I have a good foundation, I work properly, and I don't overdo it. And I work for 12 hours a day. I make 150 bats in a day, and I'm still standing.
Mr. Scott.
We have an obligation to protect our employees. I mean, I take that seriously. When I was chair of the Institutions Committee in the Senate, we put in provisions to have door locks and protection within the workplace that we need to expand upon. But we have a changing world. Things are changing daily in terms of the amount of violence and frustration. We take hundreds of calls in our Lieutenant Governor's office from people that are so angry with their government. We're seeing it across the country, but we're seeing it here too. They don't feel as though anybody's listening to them. So what we need to do is open up the dialogue, make sure that we do whatever we can to assist and live and listen to those Vermonters. Now, I was there that night of that tragic event in Barre. I came because the governor was away, he was vacationing in Canada. So I came through there, and we should set the record straight. I mean, that happened out in the parking lot. I'm not sure that if we could have been prevented for the way it happened. And it was really, really unfortunate. And we're very fortunate to have the state's attorney that came and tried to do what he can so that further harm wouldn't have been caused, but heroic activity, I might add. But we, again, have an obligation to continue to protect our employees because that's our obligation.
Thank you. Our next question concerns a new campaign launched last week. 17 labor and business and advocacy groups made their pitch for creation of a new family and medical leave insurance system. It would provide employees with perhaps 12 weeks of paid or partially paid time off from work if you have a new baby, adopt a child, have an ill family member, and so forth. The money would come from a new fund that would be created by a payroll tax on both employees and employers, maybe 0.5% or so. A couple of states have this. How does this sound to you? How do you think this would work in Vermont? We'll start with you, Mr. Lake.
You know, it's a great idea. If we're going to increase the population to 700,000, there's a lot of people that are not going to be working, you know, and not going to be paying in and stuff. I have 4 children. I didn't have a lot to do with it. I was on the road half the time, you know, but yeah, I changed diapers. I did it all. They're all graduated from college, but you know, I don't think they need that much time off. I think 8 weeks is the time that they say that a child has to be with the parents in the room, and then you can move them out because of sudden infant syndrome and stuff. So, you know, I want to get back to work anyway. I don't need it that much. I don't know why they need it that much. Everybody's worried too much about their kids and stuff. The first baby, you clean the pacifier. The second one, you wipe it off. The third one, you just stick it back in their mouth. That's what I say.
All right, Mr. Scott?
Well, the payroll tax increase is a non-starter for me. I don't believe that we should be increasing the costs of living here in Vermont. That's part of our problem, this crisis of affordability, where Vermonters are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet, trying to pay their property taxes, trying to make their rent payments, trying to pay their mortgage. This just increases that cost throughout. I would be interested in some sort of provision that's voluntary. I believe it's worthwhile to have that discussion, and I'm hopeful that they might come to the conclusion that we can do it without a payroll tax on already overburdened small business owners, the Main Street mom and pops.
Ms. Minter.
Well, I am a strong supporter of paid family and medical leave, and I'll tell you, it really does come from my personal experience. Having been a mom twice, my first pregnancy, there was no policy around medical leave. I was afraid to even tell my employer that I was pregnant. I was concerned whether I would even have a job to go back to. As it turned out, I fought hard and was able to get leave. The second baby, Jasper, I was part of a union, the State Employees Union, and had a guarantee. And I can tell you what a difference it made in my entire pregnancy, but certainly for our family. I also had the ability, when my dad was in hospice, to actually take family leave and be with him around the clock when I wanted to be nowhere else. I don't think it should be a matter of luck whether you have the ability to be with family when you need them. I want it to be something that we build into what is expected and what's available for future workforce.
Let's talk about water quality. The EPA has identified agriculture as a big source of the phosphorus pollution flowing into the rivers and Lake Champlain. Corrective action in many cases will cost farmers money, and the farmers are now reeling from rock bottom milk prices, which threaten their survival. Would you support seeking revenue from other parts of the ag industry, like the milk processors or fertilizer dealers, to ease some of the burden on the farmers? Let's start with Mr. Scott.
Well, this is certainly an issue that we have to address. We want Lake Champlain to be cleaned up. Our waterways are really important as we, I believe, climate change is real and that we're going to have to protect our water sources. I believe that we're going to be a bit of a mecca for many who want to come to the state because of our conditions, our climate conditions in the future. So that we need to focus on that. But I don't believe that the burden should be placed on the ag community in its entirety. I believe they have a responsibility. I think they should use better management practices, which they are, biodigesters, buffer zones, using injection for manure spreading and so forth. But we're all in this together. You know, it's part of our tradition, it's part of our culture, it's something that we truly love about Vermont. So we need to come up with resources to do it. We didn't get into this overnight. We're not going to be able to get out of it overnight either. So I think it's all hands on deck, so to speak, and all of us pulling together and working on this together as an entire Vermont region.
Ms. Minter.
Clean water is essential to our future, and cleaning up Lake Champlain isn't just about how important it is to reduce pollution, but really the economic impacts as well. I heard stories of families in 2 summers ago when the toxic algae blooms were so bad. Their dogs were getting sick. They couldn't let their children swim, and the stench was overwhelming. And that was just one part of the lake. This is an incredibly important issue for our future. And we do need to be all in. It isn't simply about the agricultural sector. It's actually about how pollution, phosphorus runoff, is managed throughout our developed areas, including our back roads. And I am very focused. I have a clean water plan announced earlier in my candidacy because I see it as a top priority to implement the Clean Water Action Act that has been passed, and to make sure we take steps in every direction to reduce runoff pollution. But it's also about clean drinking water, because right now in Bennington, over 200 families have poisoned drinking wells. My plan addresses greater bonding for infrastructure on clean water and drinking water.
Could I follow up? Would you support seeking revenue from any other parts of the ag industry?
we have to look holistically. It isn't just the ag industry. It is going to be, and we've been talking about looking at how we manage our back roads, how we are actually managing development. And it's going to be all of that. I am looking to bonding for focusing on the infrastructure investments that I think we need in our wastewater infrastructure, our drinking water infrastructure, and that is part of the solution as well.
Mr. Lee.
About 15 years ago, the Army Corps of Engineers raised the jetties 6 inches all along the Florida coast. Why'd they do that? They knew it was coming. And the fact that this summer, when we had the drought situation and then we had the heavy rain and all the sewage spilled out all over the place, you've got to be prepared. You've got to be ready for that, because it's going to be drought and it's going to be flood. It's going to be this way until we straighten out our carbon and the fact that we straighten out our CO2 and our methane. What produces methane? Sheep farts in Australia. But the funny thing is, you've got to reduce this stuff because it's going to hit your lakes, and you've got to be ready. Make small farms. The farms are going to be fine. Make them small, make them organic. Get rid of pharma, get rid of bovine growth hormone, get rid of Monsanto, get rid of Cargill, get rid of Archer Daniel Midland. Get rid of the big guys that are pulling all this money in here, and they're selling the farmers a bill of good. They don't call them blue tombstones for nothing.
Can you, as governor, do much to expand the supply of moderately priced housing or to reduce the high cost of apartment rents, especially in Chittenden County, that discourages young people from staying here? Ms. Minter, we'll start with you tonight.
Yes, and affordable housing and housing at all income levels is actually critically important, that we grow the supply of housing so we can reduce cost. My Invest Vermont program involves how do we grow our downtowns and villages and support more affordable housing. My clean water plan that I was just referring to, looking at infrastructure, is critically important. If we can actually build out our wastewater and drinking water infrastructure, we reduce costs for developers to be building into our compact areas. I see growing our housing sector as critically important to growing our economy, to making sure more young people can live, work, and stay in Vermont, and that we actually provide affordable housing in and around our downtowns, especially for seniors. I visited the Cathedral Square recently, an incredible, great facility for seniors, not only to have affordable housing, but also health care. And we are combining services, which is even more important for life security.
Mr. Lee.
People live downtown. Miro's got it best. He's going to put a large concentration of people down there. They're all going to be a neighborhood. They're going to have their health care down there. They're going to have less transportation costs. I believe in living urban or living rural. I never believed in the suburbs. I believe a person, to be a bright person, has to grow up in the country, move to the city, and then go back to the country. And I believe the urban people have to be in the urban. They have to go to the country, learn where your food comes from, and then go back and take your experiences back into the city. And that's our problem. We're all on fossil fuel. We're always driving. We're always tweeting. We're doing all this stuff. I do not believe in moving too much, and that's why I think Vermont's going to be fine. And as far as you got to have affordable housing. I feel tough for any child that's coming up right now thinking he's going to have the dream that I had, and what was left for me by my father and my mother. Because in this economic system, as Bernie said, unless that 2% starts dropping down and all of a sudden get like Norway, we ain't going to be doing it at all.
And Mr. Scott.
Well, housing is a critical component of my economic plan. I am addressing the issue and have a plan to do so, and you can see it on philscott.org. I have a 12-point plan with 50 different ideas on how we can grow this economy. Housing, if we look at it from the standpoint of what we've done, the growth of the renewables in Vermont has been astounding. We see solar arrays going up and down Route 7, 22A, 89, 91 at an abundant rate. What we need to do, and that's all because of tax incentives. That's all because it's lucrative for developers. What we need to do is find a way to create tax incentive type programs. We all agree that housing is important to us for the growth of our future and the economy. So let's all get on the same page. Let's pull in the same direction. Let's have some tax incentives for growth in that industry. Let's plan ahead and find areas where we want the infrastructure to happen. Let's make sure that we have infrastructure like water, storm, and sewer. And also, let's put a specialist with each permit to make sure they get through that process, which is so daunting for many.
Leanne?
Our next question comes from Twitter. What are your stances on the F-35s coming to Vermont? You'll have 30 seconds. Mr. Lee, you're first.
DB5, the stuff that you mean like J-Peak and all this money coming from...
The F-35 fighter jet.
Oh, the F-35 fighter jet. Hell
Yes.
no. I don't want them coming here. You know, I like the smaller, sleeker ones, and
All right.
they're loud, they're noisy. You know, it's just more of the military-industrial complex.
We got to be quick. Mr. Scott?
I'm all in. I've been a staunch supporter of F-35 since its initial talks. I think it's part of our tradition, it's part of our economy, and I believe we should have the F-35 in Vermont.
Well, I am a strong supporter of our Vermont National Guard. Certainly during Irene, I worked very closely with the Guard, not just here in Vermont, but 8 different states. And the service that they provided after 9/11. Our Green Mountain Boys who fly over Fenway Park.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our time is short, I'm afraid. It's time now for our closing statements. Again, we drew numbers out of a hat, and Bill Lee, you're up first.
Well, I'm a cross between Fred Tuttle and Huey Long. Huey Long was a great governor who was assassinated in Louisiana, and he brought them out of the Stone Age. He was a great guy. He said, I may not be the smartest person, but I definitely am in Louisiana. And I believe that you've got to go to a third party. You know, I am on the left edge and the right edge. Warren Spahn said, every time this plate belongs to you, this part belongs to you, this down the middle belongs to the hitter. I don't throw the ball down the middle. I throw the ball on the edges, and I'm the guy who will bring Vermont back because I'm the guy who is neither a Republican nor a Democrat. You know, I am a guy, I'm a gun toter, I love to hunt, I love Vermont, and I want to be your governor because I think I have to be, because we've got to have a change. We've got to have a change and become smaller, like Schumacher said, and the meadows and limits to growth. And Buckminster Fuller, thank you.
Ms. Minter.
Tonight I've been sharing my plans for creating livable wage jobs, ensuring fiscal responsibility, and building an economy for all of Vermont. You know, you have a choice in this election, and there are real differences between us. I am the candidate with plans for affordable college and tax fairness. I'm not looking to give tax breaks to the wealthy and corporations. I am a candidate with real plans for a clean energy future. And I know we need to address climate change. And unlike Phil, I've never questioned whether climate change is man-made. I am the candidate who will support a woman's right to choose without exception. I'm a candidate who will fight to have common sense background checks on all guns to keep Vermonters safe. I believe we can build a bright future together. I am a leader who has worked to bring people together and get things done, and that's the kind of governor I'll be.
Thank you. And Mr. Scott.
Well, I agree. There are clear choices in this election, and I believe the differences are stark between the major candidates. I believe that Sue is taking the approach of spending our way out of this situation. The situation we find ourselves is that we have a crisis of affordability on our hands. We're not focusing on the economy like we should. She's talking about a tax on services, a regional carbon tax, a cap and trade initiative. Now we hear a payroll tax tonight. Enough is enough. We need to live within our means. We're going to have to grow this economy. We're going to have more balance in the State House. We can't have a one-party rule like we've had for the last 7 years. And that's something that's, I think, is really important, that we have a safety valve, a line in the sand, so that we can bring about change in Vermont. We can have economic opportunity with the right leadership, and I believe that I can provide that leadership in the future and the years to come.
Thank you all candidates, and thanks to all of you at home. We hope